Bro, have you ever wondered if you would have Conquerors Haki in real life? If you were dropped into the world of One Piece right now, would you be one of the few who carries the disposition of a king? Or would you be just another NPC background character? Well, here are 5 signs that you are a Conquerors Haki wielder, that you carry the disposition of a king. Sign number 1, the refusal to bow down. And by bow down, I don't mean literally. With the recent reveal of Sanji's Conquerors Haki, and yes, I will admit I was wrong about him not getting Conquerors Haki, although I was still right about my reasons. Scorpio Gaban literally agrees with me. The reason why Sanji didn't have Conquerors Haki was because he holds himself back with self-doubt. Anyway, back to my point. What I underestimated in my previous video about Sanji's Conquerors Haki was far more important than everything else. Sanji refuses to betray his principles. He won't hit a woman, even when it puts his life in danger. He won't let people starve, even if they're his enemies, even if it gets thrown back right in his face. Is Sanji always logical about that? No. Do they handicap him? Absolutely, but that's exactly the point. A conqueror does not abandon who they are just because the world tells them that they should. This is what makes Sanji a king. Not because he wants to rule over other people, but because he refuses to let the world rule over him. So ask yourself, do you have principles that you're unwilling to betray no matter what? Or do your values just disappear when the moment is convenient? Sign number 2 that you are a Conquerors Haki wielder is that you are willing to rise to impossible odds, even when everything is not in your favour, when the chances of you winning and succeeding are almost 0%. For example, yes, everyone laughs at Kid, but the reason he is a Conquerors Haki user and somebody like Law isn't, is because even knowing he would lose to Kaido, he refused to bow down and join Kaido's crew. He instead decided to challenge Kaido and rise to impossible odds, whereas Law made a very roundabout plan on how to defeat Doflamingo by having Kaido defeat Doflamingo by destroying his factories. That is not a character trait of a conqueror. Just fight Doflamingo head on, bro. Just look at Luffy versus the 3 admirals. Luffy knew he was outmatched, but the word impossible is not in the dictionary of a conqueror. You see, it's not about winning or losing, it's about doing so regardless. A king would rather fail chasing the impossible than never chasing it at all. A king isn't defined by the odds stacked against them, they are defined by the fact that the odds never stopped them in the first place. So ask yourself this, do you give up the moment the odds are against you? Or are you the type of guy who keeps going even when everyone tells you that it's hopeless? Sign number 3 that you possess the disposition of a king is that you possess ambition. Now notice, I didn't say you must possess extraordinary, larger than life ambition like Pirate King or the world's greatest swordsman, no. But just possessing ambition in and of itself is one of the signs that you carry the disposition of a king. But this ties back to signs number 1 and number 2. How far are you willing to go for that ambition? Zoro said in his fight versus Mihawk that he'd rather die than give up. He'd rather be dead than ever fail his dream. Zoro had a choice, step back and live, but fail his dream, or die but refuse to give up on that dream. Zoro chose the latter, and that's what made Mihawk recognize that Zoro is a king. So it's one thing to simply have ambition, that's one thing, but how far you are willing to go for that ambition? Are you willing to look crazy for your ambition? That's a whole other separate matter. Now yes, you don't have to go that far, but how much do you really want your dream? How badly do you really want it, you know? If you're on a diet and somebody offers you a cookie, do you have the willpower to say no? Even if everybody hates you for it, you know? It's these kind of moments that decide if you're a conqueror. Sign number 4, you have an unwavering resolve. From Sabaody to post Marineford, Luffy suffered loss after loss after loss. His crew was torn away from him. He couldn't save Ace, and for the first time in the series, Luffy completely broke. He even questioned whether he was worthy of becoming Pirate King, but that's exactly what makes him a conqueror. It wasn't that he broke, it's that he refused to stay broke. After his training with Rayleigh, his resolve became literally unshakable. This is why Luffy vs Kaido is one of the best fights to me in One Piece. Each and every single time Luffy got knocked out, he came back stronger and stronger and stronger. Why? Because Luffy has an unshakable will. You can't beat such a will. A king uses failure as a chance to use that failure to fuel their growth, not a chance to despair. Think about how much times Luffy lost versus Crocodile. 3 times. Most people would give up the first time, but nah, Luffy came back 3 times. Do you have that unshakable will? How many times are you able to fail and keep standing back up? And the final sign that you are a conqueror is that you have the ability to make people naturally follow you. Mihawk once said that the most terrifying power on the seas isn't strength, but it's the ability to make people naturally gather around you, and that's exactly what a Conqueror Haki user does. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be popular, it just means that when you have a conviction, when you know who you are and you have confidence, people will naturally want to stand beside you. They feel inspired by your example and want to support you. Luffy never asks people to join him. I mean, yes, he does for his crew, but for example, look at Marineford. When Mihawk gave that quote about Luffy inspiring people to join him, he literally gathered thousands of people. He led thousands of people to save Ace. Why? Because of his confidence. He stood on equal terms with Whitebeard as if he and Whitebeard were on the same wavelength. He stood up to Whitebeard and said, "I will be Pirate King, not you." And this earned the respect of Whitebeard so much. He saw Luffy as a king when he said that. The cheek, the audacity for this guy to say to Whitebeard, a Yonko, an established legend, "I will be Pirate King, not you." This is what makes people gravitate towards Luffy. It's his confidence. Do you have that confidence? You don't need to be popular to have people want to follow you. And with that said, you don't need every single sign to have the disposition of a king, but at least one of these signs would make you a Conquerors Haki user for sure. But what do you think? Comment down below. And massive thank you to my members, Cats A My Family, Uso Timor, and Mr. Bushido 56. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely enjoy Philosophy of Haki, and I will see you there.